Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Uday #technical. Today we will discuss what is variable declaration in programming and what is variable initialization in programming. What is variable declaration in programming? We know, but before we know the variable declaration and variable initialization in programming, we first need to know what is declaration in programming. What is declaration in programming? In programming, a declaration is a statement that describes any identifier, such as the name of variable or function. So, what is declaration? In programming, a declaration is a statement that describes any identifier such as the name of variable or a function. What is variable declaration? Next, what is variable declaration? Variable declaration is for assignment of properties and identification to a variable. Variable declaration does two things. It tells the compiler what the variable name and it specifies what type of data the variable will hold. First point, it tells the compiler what the variable name is. It means declaration statement always tells the compiler the variable name. As an example here, int, number, float, salary, char, name, double, balance, amount. Here number, salary, name, balance, amount is a variable name. So variable declaration tells the compiler what the variable name. Next, it specifies what type of data the variable will hold. It means, suppose when we want to declare number type variable, this is number or roll number or marks, etc. Then before the variable name declaration we used int data type because number is a integer type variable. So when we declare integer type variable, then we have to use int data type. And similarly float salary. Here salary is floating type variable, so we have to use float data type. And here float amount, when we use amount variable, then we have to use float data type. So when we used floating type variable, then we have to use float data type. And next, char name and double balance amount is similarly in the same way. So before variable declaration we have to tell what type of data the variable will hold. So before the variable declaration we have to tell what type of data the variable will hold. Next, the general syntax of declaring variable. First syntax, data type variable. Example, int number, float salary. Here int is a data type and number is variable, and next float is a data type and salary is variable. Next, another general syntax of declaring variable is data type variable 1, variable 2, ... variable n. Example, int number, total year, float salary average. Here int is a data type and number 1, number variable 1, total variable 2, year, so on, and float is a data type, salary average is a variable. So in this way we have to declare the variable. We will declare the variable through a C program. Hatch include stdio.h, int main, int number 1 and number 2, Here int is a data type and number 1 comma number 2 is a variable. This variable declaration is similar to this syntax: data type variable 1 variable 2 dot 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 variable n, and printf enter two integers scanf %d ampersand number 1 and ampersand number 2. Printf the number 1 and number 2 is %d number 1 and number 2. This program run in the dev C++ software. There is some changes, otherwise it is an error. Oh, the program save. The program save, Ctrl S F11, enter two integers 6 and 8. The number 1 and number 2 is 6, 8. Here number 1 is variable and number 2 is another variable and data value 6, 8. So in this way we will declare the variable. We will only declare the variable number 1 and number 2, and number 1 is stored 6 data value and number 2 is stored 8 data value. Next, what is variable initialization? Variable initialization refers to the process where a variable can store any data value, and this refers to the process where a variable is assigned an initial value before it is used in the program. So what is variable initialization? Variable initialization refers to the process where a variable can store any data value, and this refers to the process where a variable is assigned an initial value before it is used in the program. Example: int a equal to 10. Here int is a data type, a is a variable and 10 is a value. So a is a variable that assigned an initial data value 10. So variable initialization refers to the process where a variable can store variable a variable can store any data value means here 10, and this refers to the process where a variable is assigned. A is the variable that assigned an initial data value 10, and this is the variable initialization. Variable initialization in C is two ways: static initialization and dynamic initialization. First, we will know what is static initialization. In static initialization, the variable is assigned a value in the advanced. This variable then acts as a constant. In static initialization, the variable is assigned a value in the advanced. This variable then acts as a constant. Syntax: data type variable, variable equals to value. First declaring the variable, data type variable, first declaring the variable, then initializing variable equals to value. Example: int number equals to 10. Here int data type number is a variable, number equals to 10, variable equals to value. So first declaring the variable, then initializing. Similarly, float average equals to 56.789. Next, syntax: data type variable equals to value. Example: int a equal to 3 or float b equal to 5.34. Here declaring and initializing the variable together, declaring int a or float b, declaring and initializing int a equals to 3, float b equals to 5.34. So declaring and initializing the variable together. Another way is int a equals to 4, 9 equals to 5, c equals to 8, etc. Syntax, third syntax, data type variable equals to value. Example int a, b, c. Variable is more a, b, c, d, whatever. And next, initializing the value, initializing the variable a equals to b equals to c equals to 7. And another way is int a, b equals to 30, c equals to 20. First, variable initialization in static initialization program in C. Hash include stdio.h, int main, int a equals to 20, printf the value of a is %d, a. Int a equals to 20. Here declaring and initializing is together. And run this program in dev C++ software. Sorry. Run the program. The value of a is 20. As a is a variable and 20 is data value, and variable declaration and variable initializations both together. Next, dynamic initialization. Dynamic initialization. In dynamic initialization, the variable is assigned a value at a runtime. The variable is assigned a value at a runtime. The value of this variable can be altered any time the program is being run. In dynamic initialization, the variable is assigned a value at a runtime. The value of this variable can be altered any time the program is being run. Syntax, data type variable. Printf, enter the value of a is a variable, scanf %a ampersand a. In this method, we don't do assign the value in advance. We don't do assign the value in advance, only declaring the variable. We assign the value at runtime. We assign the value at runtime. Variable initialization in dynamic initialization program in C. Hash include stdio.h, int main, int number 1 and number 2, only declaration variable, only variable declaration, and int data type is here because number 1 and number 2 is integer type. Printf, enter two integers, scanf %d ampersand number 1 and ampersand number 2. Printf, the number 1 and number 2 is %d number 1 and number 2, and run this program. This is dynamic initialization. And run the program. Enter two integer. Variable can store the value during runtime, and variable initializing during the runtime. 5 and 6. The number 1 and number 2 is 5, 6. So, in dynamic initialization, the variable is assigned a value at runtime. The value of this variable can be altered any time the program is being run. The value of the program here, the value 4 and 5. The number 1, number 2 is 4, 5. The value is changed. So, in dynamic initialization, the value of this variable can be altered any time the program being run. So, in this method we do not assign the value in advance, we assign the value at runtime. We understood what is variable declaration and what is initialization. Thank you very much for watching this video.